Hey there. Before we jump in, I just want to say last time we talked about the quiet weight that women carry that nobody sees. But today, I'm expanding on that. We're going to be looking into the invisible weight of doing it all of the moms, the caregivers, the go getters, and the women that are holding it together for everyone else but barely finding their way through it all. So if you've ever felt like nobody notices how hard you work, this is for you. So let's get into it. People always say, "You're so strong." But what they don't see is the weight that you're carrying just to hold everything together. You're not just managing a home or a job or even your calendar. You're managing conversations, expectations, and even your emotions. And you're good at keeping the peace for everyone else while barely holding it together yourself. And when you're that woman, the woman that does it all, burnout, it doesn't always show up loudly. Sometimes that looks like high functioning exhaustion. You know, the kind of tired that sits behind your eyes and never really fully goes away. So let's talk about that because this is not about being dramatic, it's about being real. I started doing it all even before I realized I was an only child until I wasn't. Then our home, suddenly, it filled with foster siblings. I became the example, the responsible one, the peacekeeper. I got my first job as soon as I could at Dairy Queen. I was working, playing sports, even trying to graduate early, all the while showing up for everyone else. People used to say, "You're so independent for your age." They saw the smile, the consistency, the hustle, but no one stopped to ask me if I was okay. So, what they didn't see was how overwhelmed I was. And those same patterns followed me into my adulthood. The hardest part about being the woman who does it all is that people stop checking on you. You become the one that everyone else leans on. But who's holding space for you? The weight isn't just physical. Sometimes it's the mental tabs open in your brain, the emotional labor, the dealing with managing everyone else's moods, the unspoken pressure never to drop the ball. People call it strength, but inside, it can feel like suffocation. You're being praised for how resilient you are, but nobody sees the resentment building underneath. Let's be honest, because the invisible weight, it looks different on all of us. There's a woman who's a caretaker, maybe for children, a spouse, or aging parents. Her schedule, it's never her own. Her body is tired, her mind never stops. She rarely has time to eat seated and hasn't taken full breaths in weeks. There's the ambitious professional, the one that holds it down at work, delivers and excels, and keeps going because slowing down feels like falling behind. But at night, she's drained, and that success starts to feel hollow. There's the nurturer in the friend group, the one that remembers everyone's birthdays, sends check ins, and makes sure that everyone else is okay. But deep down, she wonders if anyone would ever notice if she stopped showing up. And then there's the woman who's just surviving mentally, emotionally, maybe even financially. She's just trying to stay afloat. She's not trying to be Superwoman. And some days, even that feels like too much. These are all different stories, but the same exhaustion. The invisible weight, it's not always the to-do list. Sometimes it's the unspoken pressure to never drop the ball, to be the one that just always keeps it together. And it's sneaky because people praise you for this. You're the go-to, the solid one, the dependable one. But here's the truth I had to face. Just because you can carry it all doesn't mean you should. And if you're like me, maybe you've been on autopilot for so long, you didn't even realize how heavy it had gotten. This is your pause moment. You don't need permission to put yourself on the list. So let me ask you this. When was the last time someone asked how you were doing without needing anything in return? When was the last time you gave yourself permission to just fall apart or even just rest? You don't have to wait for a breakdown to have a breakthrough. So this right here is your invitation. Right here, right now. The truth is, the body always remembers what the mind is trying to power through. For me, it showed up as that stubborn weight gain, fatigue, and that deep exhaustion that my sleep couldn't fix. I was doing all the right things, eating well, moving more, but I was still feeling off. And that's when I realized my nervous system was in survival mode. You can't rest in the same conditions that make you exhausted. You can't even thrive while still pleasing or performing or trying to prove your strength. So if your body is calling for rest, listen. Because if you're craving sugar or constantly snacking, that's not a lack of willpower. That's a sign that your body is trying to comfort itself. What you're carrying is heavy, and it's showing up in more ways than one. And what makes it even harder is you may not even have the words to express what you're feeling, but you may be snapping when you're normally patient. You may be even skipping meals while not even noticing. Or when you wake up, are you already feeling overwhelmed? And these aren't failures. They're signals, signs from the body that it's time to tune in. And your body isn't trying to betray you. It's just begging to be heard. And it doesn't even need you to be perfect. It just wants you to be present, to notice. So if you've been brushing off that tension in your shoulders, or that fog in your brain, or even that ache in that gut, this is your moment to say, I hear you. Just start there with some compassion, with some honesty, even a little bit of curiosity, not criticism. Because the body, yes, it keeps score, but it also holds the key. So how do you start again when you've been putting yourself last for so long? You start small. You start with awareness, not a whole new plan or a big transformation. You start with just asking yourself, what do I need right now? What does support look like for me? Maybe it's water. Maybe it's quiet. Maybe it's finally eating something warm and nourishing instead of rushing. The change, it doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be intentional. And that's where it begins. So if you're nodding your head right now, just know, I get it. Because I've been the one who never asked for help. The one that just kept showing up for everyone. Even though underneath, I was exhausted. But you know what I learned also from this? Is that you don't need to earn rest. Rest is required. You don't have to continue to keep proving your worth. And you know what? You don't have to carry all this by yourself. You deserve to feel grounded, to feel considered, to feel like you matter too. So if no one has told you that lately, let this be the moment that changes everything. Because you've given so much, and right now, it's your turn. And if you feel like this is finally the time for you to start putting yourself first, making your health the priority, figuring out how to feel better from the inside out, I invite you to stick around, because it's not the wellness that we've been taught. It's about learning how to move better, feel better, and live better. And in a way that fits your body, your lifestyle. In the next few episodes, I will begin to share how I help women reconnect with not only their body, but their energy and their identity. And the way that I do this is through sustainable, personalized care. Because you deserve more than a one-size-fits-all approach. And I can't wait to show you what's possible.